Y'all ain't noticed since Pooh Shiesty been home, he ain't been no 1017 repping. Gucci Man this and Gucci Man that. Ain't none of that.
The hip-hop world has been thrown into chaos once again as Pooh Shiesty publicly called out Gucci Mane in a shocking statement that has fans and insiders buzzing. The allegations are serious, pointing to betrayal, broken trust, and tensions that many assumed were long buried. The post, which spread rapidly across Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, left the community stunned. Pooh Shiesty's words were direct, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. Within hours, reaction videos, comment threads, and fan theories exploded across social media, dissecting every nuance of the statement. Some believe the call-out reflects a deep personal dispute, while others argue it's tied to business disagreements or creative conflicts. Whatever the truth, the drama is undeniable, and it's clear that this incident will have repercussions far beyond a viral post. The timing could not be more explosive. Pooh Shiesty has been riding a wave of popularity, with new music releases and high-profile appearances keeping him in the spotlight. Gucci Mane, a titan of Atlanta trap and a mentor figure to countless artists, rarely finds himself embroiled in public confrontations of this magnitude. Seeing these two worlds collide in such a raw and public way has left fans scrambling for answers. Every phrase, every implication, and every reaction has been scrutinized, fueling a frenzy of discussion that dominates feeds and trending sections alike. Adding to the intrigue, insiders suggest this feud has been simmering quietly for months. Subtle remarks in lyrics, cryptic social media posts, and past interactions hinted at tension, but few expected a public confrontation. Now, with Pooh Shiesty breaking the silence, speculation runs rampant. Are old loyalties being questioned, or is this a battle over respect and position within the industry? Fans are divided, some siding with the rising star for speaking his truth, while others defend Gucci Mane's legacy and influence, creating an online storm of opinion, debate, and viral reactions. The consequences of this call-out are still unfolding. Industry experts and commentators are weighing in, discussing how this revelation might affect collaborations, upcoming projects, and relationships within Atlanta's music scene. Social media platforms have become battlegrounds of loyalty, as fans dissect, debate, and predict what could happen next. The clip, the statement, and the reactions have transformed a personal dispute into a public spectacle, one that highlights the power and unpredictability of modern fame. With millions watching, every move, post, and response will now carry added weight. Pooh Shiesty has lit a fire that could define the next chapter in both his career and Gucci Mane's legacy, and the world is waiting to see who will blink first. The moment Pooh Shiesty publicly called out Gucci Mane, the energy in the hip-hop community shifted instantly. Social media feeds were flooded with reactions, memes, and heated debates, each dissecting the words he chose and the weight behind them. Fans and commentators alike couldn't believe the audacity, or perhaps the necessity, of the statement. What began as a few cryptic posts on Instagram quickly escalated into a full-blown conversation about loyalty, betrayal, and the complexities of relationships in the trap music scene. Every detail mattered, the phrasing of each sentence, the timing of the post, even the emojis used were analyzed for hidden meaning. Within hours, reaction videos appeared, influencers weighed in with dramatic interpretations, and fan communities erupted into factions, some defending Pooh Shiesty for speaking his truth and others defending Gucci Mane's long-standing legacy. The viral nature of the call-out showed just how quickly a single post could dominate conversations and shape public perception in a way that no traditional press release ever could. Inside Atlanta, where both artists' influence runs deep, the story took on an even more intense dimension. Industry insiders began piecing together the history of the relationship between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane, looking for clues that could explain the alleged betrayal. Past collaborations, studio sessions, and even social events were analyzed, with every anecdote used to support one side of the debate or another. Theories ranged from business disputes over music rights or revenue splits to personal conflicts, perhaps involving loyalty to crews or strategic decisions within the industry. Each new rumor, whether credible or purely speculative, was amplified by social media, creating a feedback loop that made the controversy impossible to ignore. Even casual observers were drawn into the drama, clicking, commenting, and sharing posts that dissected every nuance of the unfolding situation. The clip and post became a lens through which fans could explore not just the tension between these two figures, but also larger questions about trust and respect in the music world. Meanwhile, the dynamics of influence and reputation became glaringly clear. Gucci Mane, known as a mentor to countless Atlanta artists and a major figure in the trap scene, rarely finds himself in the center of public disputes. Yet, this call-out challenged not only his public image but also the perception of his influence over protégés. Fans began debating whether this was a necessary confrontation, a warning to others, or a symptom of deeper unrest within the community of emerging artists. Pooh Shiesty's move was bold. Publicly calling out one of the genre's biggest names carried both risk and reward. His words could elevate his reputation as someone unafraid to confront power, or they could be seen as reckless, jeopardizing opportunities for collaborations and mentorship. The stakes were enormous, and every post, story, or interview could tip the balance one way or another. As the debate intensified online, media outlets quickly caught wind of the story. Hip-hop blogs, entertainment websites, and YouTube channels began producing analysis videos, interviews, and opinion pieces. Each outlet presented a slightly different interpretation of the situation, further fueling the fire. Fans dissected these analyses with equal fervor, comparing them against the original posts and guessing at what wasn't being said. This cycle of speculation, amplification, and reaction created a momentum that made it impossible for either artist to ignore the public perception. Even those outside the trap scene became aware of the tension, as the story's reach expanded beyond Atlanta and into broader cultural conversations about loyalty, fame, and the power of social media. At the same time, insiders suggested that the history between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane was far more complex than the public realized. Quiet conflicts, subtle slights, and behind-the-scenes disagreements may have been simmering for months, if not years. This revelation added another layer of intrigue. The call-out wasn't just a momentary outburst, but a culmination of underlying issues that fans were only beginning to uncover. Analysts speculated that the fallout could affect upcoming projects, collaborations, and the broader dynamics of the Atlanta music scene. The situation highlighted a fundamental truth of modern hip-hop. In a world where social media amplifies every interaction, private disputes quickly become public narratives, and moments of betrayal, or perceived betrayal, can define careers. For Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane, the challenge was now to navigate this storm, balancing authenticity, reputation, and public perception as the eyes of the world watched their every move. The reactions to Pooh Shiesty's call-out didn't just stay online. They quickly spilled into the streets of Atlanta, where both artists' influence is deeply rooted. Fans at shows, local hangouts, and even casual gatherings debated the meaning of his words, replaying the post and the clips shared across social media. Every subtle detail became significant. The phrasing of the message, the time it was posted, and even the tone of accompanying videos. Some fans argued that Pooh Shiesty's choice to speak publicly was a calculated move to assert independence and challenge Gucci Mane's authority, while others insisted it was a response to a personal betrayal that could no longer be ignored. The energy online and offline created a feedback loop, with speculation fueling engagement fueling coverage, and coverage fueling even more speculation. Hip-hop enthusiasts dissected every lyric, every past collaboration, and every social media interaction to uncover what may have led to this confrontation, proving that nothing in the digital age escapes scrutiny. Behind the scenes, the industry was equally on edge. Executives, managers, and producers closely monitored the situation, aware that a public feud could have consequences for upcoming projects, tours, and label relationships. Some insiders suggested that collaborations between the two artists might be in jeopardy, while others argue that the drama could actually boost visibility and streaming numbers for both. The discussion revealed the precarious balance that artists must navigate. A single viral post can significantly impact business decisions, fan loyalty, and career trajectories. Beyond the music itself, This incident became a lesson in how public perception and digital narratives influence professional outcomes. For both Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane, the stakes were high, and every public move, social media story, or subtle gesture could be interpreted as a signal in a larger, ongoing story. Fans online didn't hold back. Twitter threads, Reddit posts, and Instagram comments were filled with analyses, predictions, and theories. Some claimed that Gucci Mane's reaction, or lack thereof, was a calculated strategy to maintain authority and composure, while others argue that Pooh Shiesty was leveraging the call-out to position himself as a rising independent force, unafraid to confront even the most influential figures in the trap scene. Reaction videos proliferated, many of which went viral themselves, breaking down facial expressions, gestures, and tone in ways that suggested hidden meanings or secret messages. The public became a part of the storytelling process, shaping the narrative alongside the artists and transforming a personal dispute into a cultural event with global reach. It was clear that this was no longer just about the artists. It had become a conversation about loyalty, respect, and hierarchy in modern hip-hop. As the days went on, the speculation evolved into rumors about the underlying causes of the feud. Some sources hinted at financial disagreements or conflicts over creative direction, while others suggested personal betrayals involving trust, mentorship, and alliances within Atlanta's music circles. Every new theory was amplified by social media, spreading rapidly across platforms and generating even more engagement. Analysts noted that in today's environment, moments like this can quickly escalate into defining episodes in an artist's career. For fans, this wasn't just entertainment. It was a lesson in the power of narrative, perception, and influence. Every reaction, whether supportive, critical, or speculative, became part of the ongoing story, creating a sense of collective participation in the drama as it unfolded. Meanwhile, both artists faced the challenge of navigating this heightened attention while protecting their reputations. Pooh Shiesty's decision to go public positioned him as someone unafraid to speak his truth, but it also exposed him to criticism, backlash, and the potential loss of opportunities. Gucci Mane's response, or strategic silence, maintained his authority but also allowed speculation to grow unchecked. This dynamic created a tense environment where every post, story, or interview could be read as confirmation, contradiction, or escalation. Social media, traditional media, and fan engagement merged into a single ecosystem where the boundaries between reality and perception blurred, demonstrating the immense power of digital culture. By the time the conversation reached its peak, it was no longer a simple call-out. It had become a defining narrative in the careers of both artists, highlighting the complex interplay between fame, loyalty, and influence in modern hip-hop. The intensity of the situation grew as the call-out began to dominate every corner of social media. Fans, commentators, and fellow artists dissected every nuance of Pooh Shiesty's statements, replaying posts and videos countless times to detect hidden meaning. Every gesture, every word, and even the spacing in the post became fodder for interpretation. Some argued that the public confrontation revealed long-simmering frustration, while others saw it as a bold strategy to stake his position in the Atlanta trap hierarchy. Memes exploded, reaction videos went viral, and hashtags related to the feud trended globally. What might have been a private grievance became a public spectacle, illustrating the incredible speed at which digital culture amplifies even the smallest moments. Comment sections transformed into arenas of debate, with fans split between loyalty to Pooh Shiesty and allegiance to Gucci Mane, while outsiders watched the drama unfold with fascination and curiosity. Industry insiders quickly recognized that this was no ordinary feud. Producers, label executives, and managers began quietly assessing the potential impact on projects, collaborations, and the careers of both artists. Rumors suggested that pending releases could be delayed, promotional plans altered, and collaborations reconsidered. The tension was palpable because, in today's music landscape, perception is as important as performance. One viral post or statement could influence millions, shaping fan opinion and impacting commercial opportunities. This created a delicate balancing act. Pooh Shiesty's words demonstrated independence and assertiveness, while Gucci Mane's response, or careful silence, maintained authority but left questions unanswered. Each move was calculated, yet every detail was subject to scrutiny, and the artists were forced to navigate the thin line between authenticity and strategic positioning. As conversations intensified, fan theories multiplied at an astonishing rate. Some speculated that the feud stemmed from financial disagreements or creative control over projects, while others suggested that personal betrayals or broken trust had triggered the confrontation. Every possible angle was explored, with social media acting as both a microscope and a megaphone. Reaction videos, live-stream debates, and detailed breakdowns flooded platforms, turning a single call-out into a multi-layered story with endless interpretations. Analysts began discussing how such public disputes impact brand image, fan loyalty, and industry relationships, highlighting the growing importance of digital culture in shaping the careers of emerging and established artists alike. For fans, each post or video was not just entertainment. It was a chance to participate in the unfolding drama, to align with one side or the other, and to speculate about what would happen next. Amid the chaos, both artists were navigating the high stakes of public attention. Pooh Shiesty's move to confront Gucci Mane publicly positioned him as fearless and unapologetic, but it also exposed him to potential backlash, criticism, and lost opportunities. Gucci Mane, a veteran and influential figure, faced the challenge of responding without escalating the situation, maintaining his legacy while allowing fans and media to interpret the unfolding events. Every appearance, story, or social media post was dissected for hidden messages, with even the smallest detail potentially serving as proof of loyalty, defiance, or strategy. The feud had become a complex interplay of perception, influence, and reputation, demonstrating how modern fame requires not just talent, but careful navigation of public narrative. The broader hip-hop community watched with fascination as the story continued to unfold. Other artists, commentators, and influencers weighed in, adding layers of interpretation and increasing engagement. Every post became part of a viral ecosystem, shaping the public's understanding and extending the lifespan of the drama. The feud highlighted not only the relationship between the two artists, but also the way audiences consume, interpret, and amplify moments in real time. It was no longer simply a dispute between a rising star and a legendary mentor. It had become a defining example of how power, loyalty, and reputation play out in the modern music industry. As the tension escalated, fans eagerly awaited the next move, knowing that every development could have far-reaching consequences, both personally and professionally, for everyone involved. The tension surrounding Pooh Shiesty's public call-out reached a boiling point as the feud continued to dominate social media and fan discussions. Every new post, story, or subtle gesture from either artist became fodder for speculation, with fans piecing together past interactions, collaborations, and interviews to make sense of the conflict. Memes proliferated, reaction videos went viral, and discussion threads became increasingly heated, often extending beyond the original context of the call-out. The drama had transcended a personal dispute. It had evolved into a cultural phenomenon that reflected not only the clash between two artists but also the intensity of fan engagement in modern hip-hop. Online communities debated every nuance, from the wording of posts to the body language in videos, and every interpretation seemed to spark a new round of reactions, keeping the story alive and constantly evolving. Behind the scenes, the industry watched closely. Executives, managers, and producers understood the delicate balance of navigating public perception while maintaining business relationships. Rumors circulated that potential collaborations could be reconsidered or delayed, and even sponsorships and brand deals were under scrutiny as stakeholders evaluated how the feud might affect public image and marketability. For both Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane, this was not merely a personal or artistic dispute. It was a strategic game with high stakes. Their every move was being analyzed for intent, tone, and consequence. Insiders noted that while controversy can sometimes elevate an artist's visibility, it can just as easily create long-term challenges, particularly when it involves figures as influential and connected as Gucci Mane. The viral nature of the feud amplified these stakes, forcing both parties to consider not only what they said, but how it would be interpreted across platforms and audiences. Fans continued to escalate the situation online, sharing detailed theories and attempting to connect the dots between past events and the current confrontation. Some suggested that the feud reflected a deeper struggle over creative control or loyalty within Atlanta's music scene, while others focused on personal betrayals that may have gone unnoticed until now. Influencers, reaction channels, and commentators contributed to the story, offering breakdowns and predictions that blurred the line between speculation and reporting. Each new post, whether clarifying, teasing, or cryptic, fueled further engagement, creating a feedback loop where every reaction became part of a narrative. The public's obsession turned what might have been a private grievance into a global event, demonstrating how social media has transformed the dynamics of fame, accountability, and influence in contemporary music culture. At the same time, both artists faced immense pressure to navigate the situation carefully. Pooh Shiesty's decision to confront Gucci Mane publicly positioned him as fearless and willing to challenge authority, but it also exposed him to criticism and potential professional risk. Gucci Mane, as a veteran and influential mentor figure, had to maintain his reputation without escalating the conflict unnecessarily. Every post, story, or appearance was scrutinized, with fans interpreting even subtle expressions or gestures as confirmation or contradiction of the underlying tensions. The feud had become more than a clash between two individuals. It had evolved into a commentary on power, respect, and influence in modern hip-hop. Both artists were now central figures in a story shaped as much by public perception as by the events themselves, highlighting the extraordinary influence of fans, social media, and viral content on the trajectory of careers. As the days progressed, it became evident that the feud was not just a passing moment but a defining episode in both artists' careers. Discussions about loyalty, mentorship, and creative control dominated not only fan spaces but also mainstream media coverage, podcasts, and music commentary channels. Industry analysts noted that the clip, the posts, and the surrounding speculation would likely have long-term repercussions, influencing collaborations, alliances, and public perception for months to come. Social media had transformed a private dispute into a prolonged, high-stakes narrative, where every move, post, and reaction mattered. Fans and industry insiders alike were waiting to see who would make the next move, understanding that the resolution, or escalation, of this feud could shape the future of Atlanta trap music and redefine the relationship between mentor and protege in the modern era. By the time the feud between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane reached its fifth day, the story had become larger than either artist alone. Social media was ablaze with theories, memes, and endless analysis, while news outlets and hip-hop commentators dissected every detail of the confrontation. Fans flooded comment sections, debating who was right, who had been wronged, and what the ultimate consequences might be. Every post, story, or video clip was replayed, analyzed, and shared, transforming the narrative from a simple call-out into a global event. The drama had crossed the boundary between entertainment and cultural phenomenon, showing just how influential and volatile modern digital platforms have become. For fans, the situation was compelling not merely because of the personalities involved, but because it represented loyalty, respect, and power dynamics in real time. Within Atlanta's music scene, whispers of behind-the-scenes maneuvering added another layer of intrigue. Sources suggested that managers, producers, and industry executives were working tirelessly to assess the impact of the feud on collaborations, tours, and upcoming projects. Some saw the call-out as a strategic play by Pooh Shiesty, designed to assert independence and signal that he was willing to challenge even the most influential figures in the trap scene. Others argued that Gucci Mane's reputation and authority would prevent him from being publicly undermined, making a careful response critical. Every move by either artist had the potential to shift public perception and affect professional relationships, which meant that timing, wording, and tone were as important as the underlying conflict itself. The situation was a high-stakes chess game played out in real time, with fans, media, and industry players all trying to anticipate the next move. Fans took an active role in shaping the story, interpreting body language, tone, and even emoji usage as potential signals of intention or meaning. Some speculated that the feud stemmed from financial disagreements, creative control over projects, or misaligned expectations regarding mentorship and loyalty. Others argued that the public call-out was symbolic, a warning to the larger community about boundaries, respect, and authenticity. Reaction videos, live-stream debates, and viral posts fueled the fire, creating a feedback loop that magnified engagement and ensured the story stayed in the public eye. What might have been a brief confrontation became a sprawling narrative with multiple layers, illustrating how the digital age has transformed conflict into a participatory spectacle, where fans are not just observers but active contributors to the story. Amid the public scrutiny, both artists faced the challenge of managing perception while protecting their legacies. Pooh Shiesty's boldness in calling out Gucci Mane positioned him as fearless and independent, but it also exposed him to criticism and potential professional risk. Gucci Mane, meanwhile, had to maintain authority without escalating the conflict in a way that could harm his reputation or influence. Every post, public appearance, or interview became subject to intense scrutiny, as fans searched for clues about the status of the feud and the future relationship between the two artists. The conflict had become about more than personal grievances. It was now a defining episode in both careers, highlighting the delicate balance between respect, loyalty, and strategic communication in modern hip-hop. As the days turned into weeks, the narrative began to shift subtly. While initial reactions were dominated by shock, curiosity, and polarized loyalties, the focus gradually expanded to consider long-term implications. Industry insiders, fans, and media commentators debated whether this feud could impact collaborations, label relations, or the broader trap scene. Some suggested that the tension might ultimately strengthen both artists' positions, drawing attention to their music and reinforcing their influence in Atlanta and beyond. Others worried that unresolved conflict could create lasting divisions. Either way, the situation underscored a critical reality of modern fame. In an age of viral media, every interaction, no matter how brief, can become a defining story, shaping perception, careers, and cultural narratives. Pooh Shiesty's call-out had ignited a conversation that would ripple through the industry for months to come, and the world was watching every move, knowing that the next post, video, or statement could rewrite the story yet again. The drama between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane is far from over, and fans are glued to every post, story, and reaction. This feud has proven that in the world of modern hip-hop, a few words on social media can spark global conversations, divide fan bases, and challenge even the most respected figures in the industry. Will Pooh Shiesty's bold call-out change the balance of power? Or will Gucci Mane respond in a way that reasserts his legendary status? The story has already impacted reputations, collaborations, and the culture of Atlanta trap, and every next move will be dissected, shared, and debated across platforms. One thing is certain, this isn't just a personal conflict. It's a defining moment that shows how loyalty, respect, and influence collide in real time. Stay tuned, because the tension, speculation, and drama are only getting started, and the next chapter could change everything.